Adding a table is a useful way to illustrate information for quick reference and analysis. In this lesson, you learn to create a table, delete a table, and apply a table style. On page 2 of our report, we want to add an informational table on health issues, and when we're finished, it'll look like this. A table is a grid of columns and rows that you fill with text and graphics. Our table is made up of 5 columns, and it has 6 rows. Let's get started. In step 1, I'll scroll until this Preventive Options heading is at the top of the window. We have to do a little preparation before we insert our table, so in step 2, I'll select the heading, along with the 2 paragraph marks below it. Then I'll go up and click the Page Layout tab. I'll click the Columns button. I'll click 1, and I'll deselect the text. I'll also scroll a bit so we can see the bottom of the page. The reason we did all this is so that our new table can appear below this heading. And by formatting the heading and the 2 paragraphs below it as one column, we created a new section. This continuous section break appears before the heading, and this one appears after the second paragraph mark. Now we'll be able to insert a table that spans the entire page. So in step 3, I'll place the insertion point before this first paragraph mark. Then I'll go up and click the Insert tab, and I'll click the Table button. You can create a table using the grid in this menu, but I'll go down here and click Insert Table, and the Insert Table dialog box opens. In step 4, we want a table that's 5 columns across and 6 rows down. So, in the Number of Columns text box, I'll make sure 5 appears. Then I'll press Tab to move to the Number of Rows text box, and I'll type 6. I'll also make sure the Fixed Column Width option button is selected, and then I'll click OK. The new blank table appears, and up on the ribbon, the Table Tools Design tab becomes active. In step 5, I'll click the Home tab. And then I'll click the Show or Hide Formatting Marks button. It'll be easier to work with those turned off. The insertion point is already in the upper left cell of the table. And a cell is simply the box formed by the intersection of a column and a row. I'll type Disease in this first cell. Then I'll press Tab. And in the next cell, I'll type Vaccine. And then I'll complete the rest of this row. And when I press Tab at the end of the row, the insertion point moves to the beginning of the next one. Now in step 6, I'll type Malaria, and then I'll press Tab 2 times to move to the Prophylaxis Drug column. We want a check mark to appear here, so in the paragraph group, I'll click the Bullets list arrow, I'll click the checkmark style, and it appears in the table cell. Then I'll press Tab 2 more times. I'll go up and simply click the Bullets button, and a checkmark now also appears in the last column. In step 7, I'll add the remaining text and checkmark bullets for the table. As you can see, Japanese encephalitis is a little too wide for this column. So in step 8, I'll click the Table Tools Layout tab, and in the Cell Size group, I'll click the Auto Fit button, and then I'll click Auto Fit Contents. The width of all the table columns adjusts to fit the text, but now the table itself is too narrow. So I'll click the Auto Fit button again, And this time, I'll click AutoFit Window. And the table expands to fill the page. In step 9, I'll go up to the table group, I'll click the Select button, and I'll click Select Table. With the entire table selected, I'll go over to the Alignment group, and I'll click the Align Center button. All the text and check marks are now centered in their cells. But we want the first column to be left aligned once again. So I'll click in the upper left cell, I'll go up and click the Select button again, and this time I'll click Select Column. Then in the Alignment group, I'll click the Align Center Left button. I'll deselect the column, and you can see that it's now left aligned. Our table still looks very basic, so in step 10, I'll go up and click the Table Tools Design tab, and in the Table Styles group, I'll click the More button. I'll scroll down in this gallery of table styles, and then I'll click List Table 3 Accent 2. The table style is applied, and it includes format settings for the text, borders, and shading of the table. Finally, I'll save our changes. To try these steps yourself and for some additional tips, turn to page Word 88 in your book.